Grand Rising, everyone. It's Shay Seeking, and I just wanted to come and just talk with you guys for a minute about some stuff that I think it's just been on my mind for a very long time. But we're in a day and age where people want you to prove everything before you really talk about it. So I really don't like to go off the fly that much, but I think it is still important to talk about things like this because we're in an age of discernment and knowing and people being able to see certain things that there's a what I like to call grand rising. Okay, I know people say that to replace good morning, um, but I like to use it just in general as a general term because I think that's what's going on, or a great awakening. Okay, so and the thing is, with so much manipulating, it just all is going to have to boil down to people using their own common sense, their own wisdom, discernment, and other tools that you have always been they have always been there, but they're just now getting activated because you are, and this is also for people that are starting to see things in a different light. Okay, and we know that history lied. We know that media lies. We know that things are just not what they seem to be. So we're asking a lot of questions, and a lot of us have dedicated our lives and all of our spare time into putting things together as best as we can to bring the information to you so that you can, and that's what I want to say. Nobody's here to make anybody agree with everything I say. I'm just here to get people to start thinking, okay? I'm just here for those that are already on that journey, and they might be a little hesitant to let them know that your judgment is probably what you need to use most in a time like this. Because now we know when it comes to the education that we've been given and things like this, that it's really not going to take you really far in life. And, the haves already know this. They just have not let you in, So this is no shock to them. The thing that's a shock to them is that people are starting to wake up and cause a commotion and ask questions and look at and look within themselves for answers for things that are going on in this so-called world that we live in. So that's the fear mongering thing for them. They are, I think, at a point where they're somewhat panicking to a certain extent because the power is always going to lie in the real people. Okay, so today I kind of wanted to talk to you guys. And that's what I was going to say. Unity is key. So now I talk a lot about the Aborigines of America and how so-called Black people have been lied to about the transatlantic slave trade, which was fabricated, and that most so-called people that you would think are so-called African American today are actually the American Indians that were here. We're just using that term, just to make a reference. The people that were already here basically prior to 1492 or anything else, and through paper genocide and being prisoners of war, they have lost all knowledge of self, and they've been taking word from the very people that came in and took their land, okay? Replacing foreigners and immigrants in your place and keeping them there throughout time. Now, that doesn't mean, I'm just bringing this awareness because I feel like this does something to the mental when you start to know and you do your genealogy and you listen to what grandma said, that you was Indian or you had Indian in your family, but what she really meant to say. Because around the time that her parents or her grandparents maybe were around, it was illegal for them to claim to be Indian anymore. So that was another way that they forcefully, besides removing you from your lands and all these other things, okay? Burning your books, doing things, because there were empires here as well prior to that, okay? So we're not going to go all the way into that. You guys know where I'm coming from, but okay, I say that to say that I think we put too much trust in what we see. And at this point in time, it's hard to, and that's why I don't spend a lot of time putting my videos together and everything, because you can come up with all the information that you want. You can make bulletin points and you can put it together. And some people do that. And if that's what works best for you, then you can maybe go to one of those channels. But I'm just somebody that sees. I feel something in my spirit to speak on certain things and speak publicly now. And that's just what I'm going to do because I'm not trying to make anybody's mind up. I'm never here to tell you what it is, what it ain't. I'm just telling you what it looked like to me. I'm very kind of really introvert, intuitive, empath. I'm just someone that is always, I don't know, my head is always somewhere. And I think a lot of us are like that. But again, just like in the court of law, it's not who did the crime, it's basically who can prove their point. Okay. This is kind of how it goes sometimes, and this is how people get falsely accused, and all these other things. Okay, because there's a structure that they have there, and 9 times out of 10, the people that go into those courts know nothing about it, so they're depending on the court and the lawyers to get them through something that again, not knowing basically that that's all one entity there that you feel like is there, even your lawyer for you, but again, it could also work against you in some ways. So anyhow, the same thing when I'm talking about the government, okay? I'm trying to figure out, because a lot of people seem to think that something has changed just because we've been given a perception that things are a little bit easy going, and that we've allowed the media and newspapers over time to manipulate people's minds and start riots and they're just like instigators, basically, okay? And they're there to also trigger things in your emotions in order to get you, just like with the whole, some people may say that 9/11 was an inside job. Some people may say it's deeper. If you want to know more about it, I mean, if you don't already or haven't heard, then I don't know where you've been. But a lot of people seem to think that. But then there's some people that say, hey, I would never believe that, and that's to each his own. But for me, I don't put it past anybody, because I know that if any country or any, I just like to call these like entities or whatever, and just mainly this one is here in Americas, has been involved in mostly every single war almost that has occurred, has been the people that are running the show here. I can't tell you how deep it goes, what it's for, what it really means, but I've also heard rumors, and I say these things this way because I don't want to, like I told you guys before, bring any unnecessary focus or attention to what I'm saying. I like to be the person that's speaking in the low key in the back of the room with kicking a lot of knowledge or just bringing a lot of information, but I don't want to be like put on blast or in Front Street so that I can get like likes and all this other stuff. Like for me, I'm figuring that a good couple people, if the message just strikes one person and helps them, then that's what I'm here to do. Okay, I don't need to have 1,000,000 subscribers to do that. I'm going to keep on telling the story and keep on, bringing this information until I can't anymore. And I think that big channels are easier to be targeted. So I like being where I'm at right now. Okay, low key, just spewing stuff out that people should be able to make their own decision and hear. Okay, so before I get too far off track, I know you guys see the image here, okay? So what I was trying to make sense of is the fact that I don't put anything past anyone. We already know that the people behind this government and many other rulers and leaderships or whatever around the world have been at the hands of many people losing their lives and dying and being killed and slaughtered and stealing lands and taking and raping. I mean, it's just been going on for a long time. So to think that they haven't just changed the name of things and been a little bit more crafty, like the scripture says, in deceiving people, you will have to be not being real with yourself at that point. I always like to put that hierarchy or that caste system in relations to what I'm talking about, because although they want us fighting amongst each other, and like I said before, I think I was going to talk more about how, it seems like I'm on that level. So coming off to other people, it might seem like this is like prejudice or whatever. But I just, like I said, I feel like there is an activation that has to go on within said community that I'm a part of, in order to even get them in a way where they can know where we need to go. Because I think that our everything that surrounds us has been manipulated by others for so long that we're just grasping, we're just all like drowning now and just gasping for air. And I think to get grounded again, we at least need to know who we are so we can know what we need to do to move forward. Okay, and that's rather we need to heal ourselves and huddle together and put our hands together and sing kumbaya and exchange information, and so that we can be in a proper state of mind when we're dealing with this, and then go out and it's just kind of like everybody else has had a head start, okay? And a lot of it is, I think, at this point in time today, our fault because we block any new information. We are programmed to a certain extent, and even when somebody does show you something to wake you up, you don't want, there's other things, and it's not even really your fault. It's the system that's set up around you that we feel like we have to participate in on a daily basis in order to even survive. And there's other options to that. I don't know them all, but I'm just saying that it's either now or never. It's either wake up or be wasted. Like that's, I think, what point we are at this moment. And I think that everybody plays a part in this, no matter what your race is. It's more, like I said, about a caste system. And all of us here are the slaves that are the modern day slaves that are on the bottom of that list. Okay. So, anyhow, to think that the people that want to keep you there, now that they notice that we're waking up and we're putting out this information and we're reading and we're doing all these other things and looking at our ancestry and all this other stuff, for them to be panicking because they're going to lose their footing. And this has happened also throughout the test of time. So it's just basically common sense, because we're going to be in an era right now where they can use facial recognition to make it seem like people are saying things that they're not saying. So, even if I bring a whole platform here and show you guys all this kind of stuff, what does it really mean? Because you can say, oh, that's been photoshopped. And this is where they want us at the age of, it's the age of information, but it's also, remember that the people that own the internet and the computer, these are people want to keep their positions and keep you where you are, okay? So it's kind of like a game or whatever, okay? So just remember that when I'm trying to say that a lot of these are distractions, okay? And things are being manipulated in a way where freedom of speech, and anybody that speaks about something is going to become a terrorist, and it's just going to be a very horrible time. We're going into 2020 when they're going to want people to start getting this real ID. There's a census coming up as well, and we all need to know where we stand before we go any further. Okay, but we're not here to talk about all that stuff. I just want to kind of give you guys a kind of like where I'm at in my mind and how I've been looking at this stuff for a long time. I've been doing this research. I do nothing else pretty much with my time. I enjoy it. I love myself. I love where I'm at. I love the growth. I love a lot of things that's going on. Sometimes I feel like I just don't even have enough time to apply to this because I do still have responsibilities. But yeah, so we're going to talk about this real quick. And I'm just going to be random and all over the place. Like I said, no need to be having everything perfect. That's just not my angle. I'm more of a visual person, and I see things in a different way. Okay, so here we go. Fema, Walmart, foods, like this image speaks volumes pretty much to me. We can go all the way up into the weird weather modification that they're calling global warming, that actually some people think, and even if I think it or not, I'm just going to keep saying stuff like this because I'm not trying to get myself into any kind of situation here. So, because everybody has their IP address and their information, and I'm just saying, be careful how you speak, on some of these platforms, okay? Because, everything's watching and listening these days, your phone. And again, why do they need all this stuff? But again, we're sidetracked. Let's get back on the subject. Now, we're talking about the UN. Sorry. I'm talking about the UN, the FEMA Walmart, Department of Homeland Security, and as people lined up to try to get something, and now we already know that everybody complains about FEMA and all this other stuff, that they don't get there fast enough and all these other things or whatever like this. So, we're talking about what goes on in these buildings after the cameras are gone. What goes on in these facilities? Because way before Harvey happened, even I hadn't been hearing about it. People were speaking about it before. I didn't know about that, but after I had realized what could possibly be going on, will be after Katrina, and um, the whole thing about the whole FEMA thing or whatever. Um, I just never thought that. I just thought it was something always strange about it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and look at a video. I just lost my track of mind with that phone call. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and look at a couple of videos, a couple of clips, and I just want to know what you guys think about the situation, because I think a lot of people forget about some of these things. You know, everybody has their own bias, and some of these. Okay, so I'm back. Um, I had to go and do something real quick, and I totally forgot where I was at. But I'm just going to take the first part of the video with this one and link it up. So if it seems like I'm not on the same track, then that's the reason why. But we're going to keep on talking about this. So, what do we really know about FEMA? I know that we hear the name come up. Some people might know more about the organization than others. Some might be suspicious, and some may not be. And some may think that they help people, and some may think that it's a bad idea to wait for them, or it's a bad idea to go into one of their facilities after there is after something like this strikes. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I think I might have shared it on my Facebook. Somebody was talking about, they're basically lying about what's going on. And again, I don't know who this person was and where they. So that's the thing. We have to be able to weigh the odds. This person was there. Was saying that they were there. I wasn't. I don't know if they were there, but I'm just saying. I'm just taking this in with other information that I picked up along the way. And he was saying that they're lying about what's going on down there, how many people are dead. I think the video went, I wouldn't say viral, but I know that it was a popular, video. And it was on a lot of popular platforms when it comes to truthers or whatnot. And they were saying that there was so many people dead, and that they were shooting people at the airport that were trying to get help. And it was just chaotic. And they did say that there was like some kind of military formation that happened there at the airport, but I don't know. Like I said, I was not there. And so this is what we have to do, is just go through information that we're receiving. And then you may be aware, or if you feel like something is funny and you're in one of these situations, you might know when you need to back up and turn around, okay? So this is not anything new. I'm not the only one speaking this way. In fact, I'm going to take you to a channel that is actually focusing on this. Now, that's when you have to ask yourself, why would a person spend most of their time and study a subject and try to find all the information about it and bring it to us? And they sound very passionate and very real about what they're saying, to spend all of their time doing this if it's just something that's made up, okay? Of course, somebody that might be crazy might do something like that, but then again, there might be somebody that just has information. And like I said, if you even think of God in that way, then you would feel like, I would think that you would still be able to think that he would use your vessel or people to interpret or bring a message. I think that religion has given us the perception that we need to put all that energy into one idol that you worship and that we're waiting on, when I think that we all hold a piece of that consciousness. And I like to call it the Christ consciousness, okay? Now, of course, religion has you thinking of Christ in one way, and then there's some of us that are thinking that we're waking up to the fact that the one that you may have been waiting for is already within, okay? And it's going to take people waking up and bringing messages around the world. That would be something like the same thing. But if you bring that up to a religious member, since they're already thinking, and they've been thinking since birth, some people really young in the church or in the what do you call it, mosque or whatever, they would be thinking something like this. But just like we did the video on the caste system, and how the whole thing works, okay? And how I told you guys I feel like we're reading about that in Genesis, okay? And matter of fact, I might pull it up on this. Let me just see if I can find it really quick. Because we were doing Genesis 1 and 1. We took an hour or so to talk about it and actually look up the words and research them and see what they actually really mean. Let's see. Okay, so this is what I was reading, because I was reading Genesis 1 and 1, and then we were talking about creation or whatever, and then we ended up looking at this, because I told you guys that first we're talking about divide, and this is what these people or these entities that are in the ruling status like to use amongst those at the bottom of the pyramid, okay, to get them in a certain mindset, okay. So it says the caste system divides Hindus into 4 main categories: Brahmins, whoever this word is, you see it, Vishyas, I'm thinking Vishnu, I don't know, the Shudra. Oh, I don't know, it's reminding me of something. Okay, let's not get sidetracked. Many believe that the groups originated from Brahma, okay, so that might be one, and then the Hindu god of creation. So again, we were in Genesis 1, and we had a Bible that was from like 1812, and we kind of read that scripture, and this really resonated with me, so I kind of ended up sharing this with you, and I'll do it again real quick on here. Okay, so here we go with the way that it's set up. And then I told you guys this reminds me of those 4 heads that, you know, we were talking about in Genesis. And then I think we were talking about it in Ezekiel when it says that something about the heads were, I think it was something about scalps or something like that. And then the shoulders were something, okay? So basically saying that these things were already done, so now they can move on with the next agenda. So that was reminding me, since our theory is we may be talking about the Americas and other places and how this government, meaning, and I told you guys that means all of the stuff that's included with the judicial system. Okay, so we'll look at it like this. And we'll look at how they even colonize places, not just here, but I'm just saying colonize places in general, from what we've been told in history. And then I just know that I live here and I'm trying to research what happened to our people in reality. So this is what I'm saying, okay? So then you have to think about it, how they sent, first they sent the voyagers, they sent the crusades and all that stuff, okay? And then you had the pastors, the friars, the monks, the priests, teachers, okay, that would introduce these things and indoctrinate people with these things that they were bringing. Because, again, the enslavement starts in the mind. All this stuff is in the mind. We don't even know how powerful it is because we are so busy taking what's in there and placing it out and putting it like they taught us with religion. This is why I separate the book from religion. So this is what they did first. They removed children from homes and put them in these monastery or these Catholic schools or whatever, and they couldn't even go home to their parents, and you know, these things like this, while they were killing off, and then again the same thing that God was doing in the Bible. Okay, so anybody can get mad about that, but this is what the words are saying to us. So if anybody else was doing this in real life, you would have a problem with it. So why not research it and see if we should have a problem with it being told to us that this is the way it's supposed to happen and this is the person that we're supposed to look to and pray to and all these things to help us, when this is the person that put us in a lot of these situations that we're in. So then you have to be realistic and put your feelings to the side and all these things to the side, and then start looking at things on a tangible, realistic level. And the fact that they have altered time with calendars that have been switched over and things like this, okay? So then they sent the warrior. So like I was saying, and I think it was in Ezekiel I'm pretty sure that's what I was in when we were talking about this. And then it said something about the shoulder. So then it was funny that this was pointing to the shoulder, because then you have your warriors and your rulers. So then after that, what did they do? They sent in militias or military, because again, the military was established even prior to the government in America. Many don't think of it in that way, but this is the way it was. And again, there was already something here, but I'm saying the creation or their beginning here that they created. So creation, colonization, you know what I'm saying? It just goes hand in hand. Okay? So then the rulers, so then you had your governors, which would be if they had claimed or were gifted a lot of land, those people would have to conform that were originally there, or they would have to be put in slavery, or they would have to be killed, or they would have to be shipped off to another place, or whatever they would have to do, okay? And then there's your rulers, okay? And then now you have, after that happened, okay, you would have your pilgrimage, or that portion of history that would contain the planters, the plantations, the farmers, traders, merchants. You know, you go back to all of the treaties and acts that were signed. The whole thing about people coming over here in the first place was about merchants, okay? It was about industry type of things, okay, that were going on here, trading and stuff like that, okay? They were waiting on the ports to get here so that they can start these things, okay? Let's see. So then you have your laborers, the Shudra. Now, I don't know why that word is sounding so familiar to me, okay? But anyways, the laborers. So then you have your laboring class, the workers that get things done. And then if you notice here in Americas, I just correlate that, or I look at it as other people that have been given privileges to come here, that have been given visas, that have been given funds, that have been strategically placed in certain neighborhoods so that they can have businesses there, and then they can with those businesses accommodate the people in the neighborhood, whether the things that they're offering to these people are good or bad. What did they offer to people, to the so-called Indians when they were trading land and taking lands from people? Alcohol. What do you find in every neighborhood that is so-called a black neighborhood? Alcohol. Still, what do you find, and has that done anything to elevate us? Do we get jobs at these stores? Can we grow? Do they put money back into the community? No. Okay? So then you have also your, what was I going to say? Your schools. Has that done anything really for your children to move forward? A lot of these things, they will rather bring people from other countries and bring them on educational visas and things like that, and pay them just like they paid other farmers from Poland and other places to come here and farm the land that they had taken from you and your ancestors. This is the same thing, okay? So it's just looked at in a different light now that we're in different times, okay? And then I also look at that as the churches. Again, you're in it every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, some people. They're in the neighborhoods, and then some of the neighborhoods look horrible, but they have these lovely churches in them. And then has anything happened over the years in those neighborhoods, or are they still descending? Just like the descendants of the real Americans that were already here that are in said neighborhoods, okay? And then also, you have to think about it like this. Most people that are in those neighborhoods end up perpetually picking up that type of lifestyle. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all here doing what we can to survive, period. But once you come up into yourself and know who you are, there's something you might maneuver and move differently, okay? And they know that. This is why they hide the truth about you from you, okay? So again, it is really deep, and it's really easy to see once you open up your mind to it. And I have no feelings, no bias, anything. Like I told you guys, I'm going to just be as honest as I can. I'm just someone who sees, and I bring the information forth for you to see. I don't even want you to see it the way that I do. I want it to, wake you up in a sense. Some of us are on the ledge of waking up, but we need, because I'm telling you, I feel like the message is in each one of us, and the universe is placing things in the light of those people that have been chosen or chose to turn their life to, and a lot of religious people would say to turn your life to God. Well, then that would be, in a sense, if I'm a part of, then I would have to turn it to me first. And then inwardly, I would think the third eye and all these other symbolic things really mean something, okay? And when you do that, you will see, feel, and know a difference, okay? So it's I think we're in the age of knowing the truth. You know, some people think that we were already in, I think it's Aquarius, where the picture is being poured out. And I think that if we are or were, the truth is already getting poured out. The Bible even speaks of the truth being poured out. And then that makes me go back to my whole thing that I was doing on the tarot cards in the Torah. And how symbolic and how those two go hand in hand, but we've been kept away from the realization of that because we've been told that those cards are evil, don't deal with them. But again, they are basically the same thing that you're reading in the Bible with many of those cards. And I have a video that proves it to you guys, okay? So we can also be talking, and I forget what card it is when he's pouring the water pitcher out, okay? But what was I going to say? So now we're in the time of just like God or that entity in the Bible says that he's going to pour out his truth and sons and daughters are going to prophesy. You or I, if I feel like this is the time that that's happening, let me feel like that, because I'm not saying there's no such thing. It's just I don't think anybody's understanding how I'm interpreting this or how some of us are. It's just to say that there's an energy that we've been misled on what it is and what to look for so that you would never get there. Because us that's waking up, we're making moves in a sense, okay? And it starts with the mind, okay? So we have to unchain the brain first, because that's what they were dealing with first, okay? So let's see, this thing tells how it works. But we just were focused on that part. So now that we've talked about that small part that some of you guys can skip through or could have skipped through if you already watched the other video. Now that we've talked about that, let's just go here. Okay? Let's see. Let's play this video.
Really good, yeah. Really sexy. Oh, that smells really good.
I would use it, but like if a guy smells.
Okay,
It's early morning in the Bahamian island of Abaco, and Esther is sifting through what's left of her home. The same house she's lived in for the last 56 years.
Don't worry about the things. We can always get things back. But life. And this hurricane was more than a hurricane. You call it a hurricane, but something else was going on with this.
Down the road at a nearby airstrip, a chaotic scene is playing out.
Everything stops until everyone goes back, so please go back. Please go back.
Not to mention how many will argue that it's hurricane season. You know, and this hurricane season theme, I think, really could be something that happens, okay? Yeah, I'm leaving it open. But I have to also talk to those that think differently. And this could be something that is, they can be using HAARP, which is HAARP, to use some of the tools that NASA and the people that you pay, okay, to deceive you heavily on what they're actually doing with their time, okay, with the military and other formations, we'll say that, have tools. If you look this up, it will show you that they can create this type of weather. So that woman that was speaking, okay, they put a lot of symbolic things in some of these news channels as well. But just like she was saying, you know, we talk about hurricane. I've seen hurricane. This was not a hurricane. This was something else. And so if she's there and I'm here, if she's supposedly there and I'm here, I would like to take what she's saying and think that we're telling the truth. And if you look at the devastation that occurred, it kind of looked like a bomb went off and then something came in. And I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just saying it doesn't look like, and I haven't been in a hurricane. I live not in the area to participate in that. But from what they've shown over the years, it just looks like something else, like she said, okay? So we're going to keep on going on. Okay, so again, not to mention that some of these things end up happening on the same days, and somebody might say that, but then why, when we talk about the slave trade occurring in certain times of the year that would have possibly been around that time, how did they make it so many trips to get so many millions of people? Nobody thought about that either until we went into the records and found out that they were lying about the numbers. And they're their records, not mine. So again, how were they able to transport all these people during these times of the year? This is what's going on. Okay, so let's see. And they don't talk about anything about hurricanes wiping people away during the slave trade, really. But if you look at the devastation that these storms are causing, especially here, it just looks like something else. I was saying it when I watched the first news clip on it, and then to find this sister saying the same thing, it was just like, you know what, that resonates with me. I'm feeling that. I feel like we are talking about something else. And again, what hurricane just sits in one spot for days and hours, just sit and don't move? You know what I'm saying? And just tear shit up like that. It just seems like it is something new, something unheard of, or something that has been man-made. Okay? And in this time, since they want us to keep believing in the religious portion of the God, okay, when people are waking up to the true feeling or energy of the universe in that said consciousness, okay, they have to create these things in order for us to think that we're still in some of these stories in the book. And I believe that a lot of these things have already definitely come to pass. And, you know, well, they did, of course, you know, because we're saying that they happened in the past. But I think that we are in a time warp because of the fact that we've been given a perception of the timing in the age of the Bible, okay? And I just use that because that's more people in the world have that book and have had it all this time and don't even see some of the things that some of us are seeing right now that is just something that you just can't explain. So let's keep going. I think that was that one. And then we have to think about guys like this, okay? Now this happened, I think, I don't know if this was Harvey. Oh yeah, this was Hurricane Harvey. And so we'll just look at this little clip right here.
Bubba, Jake, who is homeless. Jake, you found yourself some shelter here. Why are you outside during this entire hurricane?
Well, I chose not to go inside yesterday because the Salvation Army and Russian Wind's homeless shelter, where they were accepting people, were caught killing everybody that was in there.
I'm sorry. Right. Okay. All right. So clearly you're homeless, and there are some challenges that you've.
Okay, so right here, I mean, I'm just saying, like I said, I'm someone that can read people very well. People's energy is really strong when it comes, especially nowadays that I'm tapping into looking at things and not being afraid to express myself and go with what my soul is or my spirit is placing on me, or the spirit, or whatever you might want to call it. I just, right away, I can just tell, you know, and a lot of times I might have to renege if more information comes, but most of the time it's just whatever. So if you notice, he just said that they were killing everybody there. That's why he didn't go in. And do you see how quick that reporter and how nervous he was about what he just said, and then also wants to pat him on the shoulder like, okay, and he looks kind of like to the camera like, oh, shh, what did he just say? And then he says, obviously you're homeless. Well, what the hell does that mean? A homeless person couldn't see what was going on, and now see a homeless person, while they want to have us perceive him in a way, might be some of the most humble, watchful, skillful people that you will meet, okay? And a lot of these people may even be vibrating on a different level that we just don't understand, okay? So for him to just bring that up to try to dismiss anything that we might hear or have heard from this man during this interview, I think that that's very suspect to me, okay? Now, they put it on the news. I can analyze this. I'm not just going to say, oh, the news just told us this, and that's just going to be the facts. No. Matter of fact, I'd rather listen to a truther that is very dedicated and very well versed in his craft or his studies I would rather listen to what he has to say than I would even listen to these paid puppets that the news have on their channels that are giving you this information and this perception. And I think the best way to look at that is to go back to the whole 9/11 thing and see how they had everybody on edge and in fear, and and that leads people. I think I was listening to someone that talked about fear and how it can lead people to do some very heinous things. I think it was the interview they were doing with that Israeli guy, I believe. I can't remember his name, but and that's kind of like where I'm coming from. Okay, but let's just finish.
Challenges that you face, sir. I'm just curious, what has it been like out here for you?
Wait, hold on. Let's go
That
back.
you face, sir.
Let's go back.
Clearly, you're homeless, and there are some challenges that you face, sir. I'm just curious, what has it been like out here for you?
There's some challenges that you see how he's kind of degrade and trying to, change it. It's just weird how they do this right in front of people's faces and they
It's
don't
been a little miserable
see.
since about 12 o'clock last night. It wasn't too bad before then. About 12 o'clock, lightning, the power went out in the neighborhood over here. And I'm actually a police officer. I'm actually...
Okay, sir.
Okay, now another thing. Do you get what I'm saying? You see how, again, I'm a police officer. Actually, I'm a police officer. And then he goes and puts his hand back on his shoulder, okay? And then takes the mic away from him again, because now this guy has said something that might make people, because people seem to worship boys in blue and in boots. Even if you think that the work that these entities have them going to do is valid in your eyes, in many people's eyes, it's not. There's millions of different ways to handle some of these things. And again, we're dealing with people that enjoy this type of thing in war. And you have been given the perception, I believe, when it comes to religion, that it's the same thing like with, and this is why why I use the term government, okay? Because God and the government seem the same. They both, I'm looking at the works, one of these people that they are calling God in this book seems to operate the same way, taking people from their lands in order to give it to other people. We see this happen. We've seen it happen. It's still happening. Sending people out to slaughter and slew people. It's just the same way. They operate the same way. Okay? So since so many people, like I said, worship these people in these uniforms, we don't even look at really the bigger picture. We just stop there. Oh, it's an officer. Oh, well, we need to do this and this and that and that. Okay? And they get praised, and even if you think that, if you feel like it's wrong, then people will look at you crazy because you think that you still don't agree with killing. It's kind of like how where I was a couple of years back when it came to somebody asking me, why is it okay to keep saying that it's okay that just because it's God that he can kill children and women and all these other people. So I think that, again, it's still the same thing as what people did to Aboriginals all over the world, especially here in the Americas. So you're basically agreeing to what they do because you've already been programmed to agree with what God does because he must have had a reason to do it. Okay? So I say, what if you put your common sense cap on and see that this is still what's going on, and maybe we have been deceived in a sense by somebody that knows more than you do, with hidden or occult knowledge that you don't have. And it would just be easy to do that within 2 or 3 generations. So.
As you're here and you're trying to survive outdoors, do you want us to call somebody to get you some help with?
What kind of help? Did it seem like that's what he needed? So again, okay, so we've watched this one. So let's move on. This is kind of just like, let's just move on here. So let's go ahead and look at this. No, we'll look at, let's see. We did the caste system. Okay, here it is again. We did that. Okay, we've done that. We've looked at the video of what was said here. Oh no, I think one of my videos is gone. I was trying to be prepared. And for some reason that video is not here anymore. Okay. I tried, y'all, to be organized. So, okay. Let's go ahead and look at this.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You guys are gonna just look at this one. We got FEMA barges, ladies and gentlemen, coming to Houston. This moron, somebody, I think it was like a mayor or something, said they're like river boats. They're like river boats. They're like floating prisons, you moron mayor. Look at this, you guys. We got FEMA barges. And by the way, I heard they didn't even pass inspection. These things look like a jail inside. Port Arthur mayor clarified temporary housing situation for city. This guy right here, Derek Freeman, the mayor, posted a clarification. Oh, that looks like jail. Take a look at that. It looks like jail.
Okay. Now, I wanted to bring your attention to this side because I had to kind of really look for these. I don't know, this person has, you know, a lot of videos up, I guess, that he's done on this or have shared from all different people, actually, different sources here, about these barges. And the thing is, where are these barges? Why haven't we been able to see on the news what's going on inside of those? Where are the people, the thousands and hundreds of thousands of people? Where are the people? I've been asking this question for years. Ever since Katrina, I wasn't really privy to the fact of what might have been going on, but now, since Harvey and all these other places, I noticed what the hell is happening to, they keep telling us all these people were displaced. You don't see these people doing YouTube videos. You don't see them going back to their neighborhoods talking about anything. It's like they just disappear off the face of the earth. Where are these barges going? Where are they taking people? What the hell is going on? Nobody wants to know. Am I the only one that's still wondering where the people are? We don't get an update? See, people are saying that horrible things might be going on in some of these camps. People were warning people about these FEMA camps at Walmart from years before any of this happened, and no one wants to listen. But where are the people? Okay? Even when it comes to these false flags and some of these staged events and some of these shootings, where are the witnesses and their camera phones? Why do we only get the news from people like these silly news places like TMZ? Or why do we get the breakdown from the news only? There's no real life people. I mean, and we might find, and I think with this storm, they're going to create these things that we're talking about, these videos, you know, because people are starting to ask questions and they're starting to be bothered by this. So now they're going to start showing you little things and doing updates and letting us on the scene a little bit more. They'll hire people, plant them there on the grounds, and let them walk around and act like they've been affected. Or, you know, I've seen even news guys having fans on the set looking like it's blowing the wind at them, and it really wasn't. I've seen big trucks driving down the street when the news was recording. I seen one guy standing there acting like the wind was blowing him away at 100 miles per hour while people right next to him were walking slow and looking at him like he was damn crazy. And this footage seeps out and no one wants to pay attention. We see how they all get the same memo at the beginning of the day, and they say these things, the Christmas video, how they say, we know that you feel guilty about buying something, and then somebody did a video and put a compilation together of all of these networks all over the country saying the same damn phrases when they open up. None of this is all programmed. The world is a stage and you've been played, period. Okay? I have no reason to make this up. I'm just a very visual person, and I chose to shut down a lot of things in my life and just be quiet and just watch and listen. Because something in my spirit was telling me to do so, and I was fighting it for years, trying to figure out what was wrong and why I was going through these health problems. And once I just submitted to just listening, being still, and listening to the voice. And it's not that kind of voice that one may think it is. I'm very sane, okay? I'm just very diligent when it comes to doing my research, okay? So, yeah. So anyway, you can see all these videos here about all of these barges and all of these things. And I'll see if I can maybe take this and oh, no. Okay, wait a minute. Let's go back.
I love this product. It's amazing because it does what it says it's going to do. I mean, you get something and it doesn't do it. This does. See that? All smooth. I love it. And I think you will too.
So, let's see. We can take that down. Let me go back and see if I was maybe looking at the Walmart trucks. Let's see. I'm really kind of like salty about this because I had it pulled up before we started of the news coverage. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. See if we can find something over here.
Underneath the bridge, and they were loading up with as many people. It's got to be dozens of people in the bottom like that. They take them to a nearby Walmart, and then the Walmart is where I guess metro buses or school buses will take them to the shelter. The question is, what shelter are they taking them to? Because I heard Tom say GRB is overcrowded and or not overcrowded, but at the capacity they had planned for. So I think gosh, I certainly have that question. I don't know if we've answered it.
But that's what you mean when you say disorganized organization, because there is at least some kind of system. I mean, earlier we've seen reporters have situations where people come out of water like this, and it's late at night, and they're wet, and with their children and their pets, and they really have nowhere to go. At least they have a system where they're taking them to a Walmart where they can be inside and wait and figure out what comes next.
Sadly, we don't know what happens in those shelters.
I think the people I talked to, all with the exception of one, they all were eager to go wherever the truck would take them.
Sadly.
Interestingly enough, hours ago, as dusk set in, the Coast Guard helicopters and the National Guard helicopters had pulled away. I hear one. There's no way we can see it. It's too far off, but I heard it pass over, a military helicopter. I had talked to a sheriff's deputy earlier. They said they...
Well, what this has turned into is a humanitarian crisis here.
Well, I think our
always opening up their hearts and souls to these.
Treat us like this, and it's not even Bible. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, they have so many Bibles, but they don't have like 66 laws of Illuminati. They don't have the Nag Hammadi scriptures. They don't have the other Bible, like all that stuff. Like, you have to order it or something. Like, you gotta find other ways to find it. And a lot of people died to keep those scriptures alive because basically the Vatican.
Okay, so this is his video. I've never watched the whole thing. I just wanted that small clip. So Let's go back to this. Okay. So again, you can do your own research and you can think what you want to think, but I'm just bringing this out and just wanted to start a conversation based on the fact that where are these people? You never hear from them again. And the thing is, if someone did want to, and you say, well, why don't we hear about it? Why don't we know? Well, if somebody did want to expose this, who owns the stations? There's only 5 companies that own the networks that you watch. They own your mind. What do people do? They watch TV all day long. They're indoctrinated. And, you know, we have sports, we have entertainment, we have all kinds of things. They're just trying to tell you what to think, how to be, what to do, who to follow. You know what I'm saying? Most of it is garbage. It's just, you know, movies that's unrealistic relationships. And, you know, it's just really just, the world is just really a stage, you know, and then we are trying to keep up with that. And so where's your mindset? You know what I'm saying? So, again, I'm not 100% sure, but it just concerns me that so many people can go missing. And I'm saying that they're missing because we haven't heard anybody's experiences really on these barges. Even if you're going to hear something and it's going to be on the local news or on the mass media, it's going to be already scripted and it's going to be maybe a hired actor or a crisis actor that plays the part that this thing happened to them. And it's just all you can... Again, I just happen to be somebody that I feel like is seeing through this, and I know that there's other people out there too. You have to remove that veil, okay? Mass deception, I mean, it's just there. It's right in front of your face. I just don't know what else to say. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Again, where do you think they are? Has anybody been affected? You know, and then just like with celebrities, when we expose some of these people as transgender, or if we expose them for whatever else, or a false agenda, or whatever, people say, oh, well, I knew this person. I went to school with it. You know, and do I believe all of this stuff? You know, sometimes somebody came at me when it came to the fires in California. Well, I was there, and I was one of the people that took the time to clean up and do all this stuff, and I'm a firefighter. And then I said a couple things back to him, and he couldn't even say anything back. He just disappeared. It wasn't even anybody on my friends list. How did he even find my video on my little page within 20 minutes of me posting it to try to combat and then bring other people over there? And then by the time I said what I had to say, they were all gone anyway because they couldn't back up what they were saying, okay? So again, I think that a lot of these people are trolls and that want to spend your time arguing with them all day. I used to do that, and I don't even waste my time anymore. If I feel like it's not my purpose to answer your question or anything like this, or if it's not something that I'm focused on, or if we don't see eye to eye, or if we can't even come to a common ground, or you're not even in that realm of awakening, it's not being mean or anything. I just don't have time. I have so much stuff on my mind, so much I want to get out that I've been holding in over the years that I just don't have time to go back and forth about that because I'm already where I'm at with my seeing it. And I think that it would have to cause something major, not someone that has not done the research to convince me otherwise. If you're just saying because you've seen it here or there, well, again, we can all go back and forth with all kinds of information, and it still would be just information that was given to us by somebody. You have to go deeper in your search, and I feel like, you know, I'm not even all the way there. I'm just at the tip. But again, I'm always learning. Never a teacher, always learning. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. Again, I don't even really have time to put this stuff all together perfectly for you. It's just to ring the alarm. So I'm sorry it's not in a pretty package, but it's just the way it is. So see you guys next time. Take care.